Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm. In this video, we're going to create our own custom artwork. We're going to begin making our game. So last week we planned out our main character and we planned out some stuff about how our game is going to work, the story, maybe what the first level looks like. This week we're actually going to start making our own artwork. Now, do not panic. If you're not a great artist, you can still do some really cool looking things here. And I'll show you a quick way to make some really nice looking artwork, even if you're not great at drawing and things like that. Now, the art style that I am going to focus on for this lesson and really for this whole project is pixel art style. So you should have read an article going over a bunch of different styles of artwork. There's pixel art, vector art, monochromatic, all that stuff. I'm going to focus on pixel art because it's the one that seems to be most popular when it comes to 2D games, and it's the style of 2D artwork that most of my students want to learn about. So let's focus on pixel art. If you want to create a vector art project or create your artwork in any other way that you know how, if you're already experienced, you do not have to go through this process, but you do have to create sprite sheets and the things that we're going to be producing. You just don't have to do it this way. You can do it in any other program. If you have Photoshop, you can use Photoshop. If you have any other digital art creating tools, you can use those as well. So for those of you who don't have experience and want to just get started making some artwork, we're going to use this website called pixelart.com. Now, pixel is spelled P-I-X-E-L. That's how you spell the word pixel. These guys have spelled it P-I-X-I-L, which can cause problems if you're trying to Google it or whatever. Just know that this website has an I instead of an E in the name. I think it's a stylistic choice. Whatever. It's a great tool. So let's go to the homepage here. You're going to want to sign in or sign up for a new account. That way you can save your work in the long term and you can make changes to it over time and whatnot. Chances are, as you start developing your game, you're going to notice little things you want to change about your artwork. So it'll be nice to come back in here and very quickly make those changes instead of having to recreate your entire thing from scratch. So I'm going to sign in with my Google account here. Okay, now this is very cluttered and very busy, and you probably have no idea what you're looking at here. The best way to just go about getting started is just to click Start Drawing. All right. It looks like you didn't save your changes and autosave has loaded them for you. Okay. Let's continue. I want to make sure I save this. This is my, by the way, this is my artwork for my my robot game that I'm going to be making. So this is the artwork that I've put together on this platform. And I don't know why that frame is in the wrong spot. Okay. Good. Okay. So anyway, this is my character. I'm going to show you how we can get there. Now, look, this isn't, great. It's not super awesome looking, but it is a full sprite sheet with the character that I want to star in my game. All right, so let's talk about how to make that. I'm going to save my drawing real quick. I've already saved it as... All right, let's save it again. Lonely Robot. All right, just going to save it. Come on. It takes a while to save. And 75%. We're almost there. And it's uploading it. So the nice thing is about this website is that it will save your work onto the cloud here so that it's in your account. So you can actually come through and you can come back and edit it more if you want later. If we go to, gallery, and if I go to my gallery, where's my gallery? Let's see, home. Oh, I have two lonely robots, right? So it made two versions. Anyway, let's go start drawing. Okay, so I want to I want to create a new piece of art. Now, it gives you this 100 by 100 pixel canvas to start with, but that's actually not going to work for the style that I'm looking for. Your pixels, you can have anything that is multiples of 8. So, for example, if you want to do 8 by 8 pixels, that's going to be very low quality, very pixelated style. If you do 16 by 16, it's double the quality, 32 by 32, 64 by 64, so on and so forth, right? I'm actually going to stick with a 32 by 32 style because it's the style I think looks, for my money, it looks the best. It gives you the most ability to add in detail, but it still kind of keeps that pixel art style. So all I did was I clicked the 32 by 32 down there. You can use any canvas size you want. And down here it tells me my canvas is 32 by 32. So just remember the size though, so that whenever we get into bringing this artwork into Unity, you're setting your pixels per unit to the right size. So make sure you remember exactly how big your pixels are, your canvases. Like I said, I'm going to use 32 by 32 for all of my artwork for this game. That'll give it roughly about the same kind of graphics quality as, say, late NES games, early Super Nintendo games. Okay. All right. Now that I have my frame here, this is a blank frame, I can go ahead and start drawing. The pencil tool is going to take the primary color and it's just going to apply it to any pixel that you click and select, right? So just going to apply a flat black color to any pixel that I select. Now, pixels are just a single color by themselves, right? There's no such thing as like gradient within a pixel. So that color is going to fill in that entire square with that color. You can change your primary color just by going here, select color, use your pencil tool to paint in that new color wherever you want, right? The other option you have is to use your paint bucket tool. The paint bucket tool will fill in any area that is completely locked in by another color. So if I were to, I don't know, grab my circle tool, let's give it a gray color, create a circle, my paint bucket, and then, I don't know, make it kind of green. Then I can paint in a circle with my paint bucket tool. All right, so that's how that works. The paint bucket will fill in any fully enclosed area. The pencil tool will allow you to make marks directly on the thing. The brush tool is a bit different. The brush tool will create some kind of scattering around where you start painting. Let's do like a brown orangish. So if I were to start, let me lower the size too. Let's lower it to like 4. Okay. If I were to start painting with this brush, notice that there's going to be some anti-aliasing. What that means is it's going to take the pixels around my pixel that I'm selecting, and it's going to try to give them colors that are kind of that are close to the color I'm using to try to make it look more smooth, right? So if I use my paintbrush tool, I'm going to start coloring in. The effect isn't as noticeable with the size of 3. Let's make my brush bigger. Okay, there you go. Now you can see that around the edges here, like right around here, it's creating some extra, let me grab my pencil. Around here, it's creating some, it's filling in other pixels that are just a little bit faded, right? To try to make it look more smooth as opposed to a flat line, right? So it's up to you if you want to use that or if you want to use the pencil tool. I like the pencil tool, and I think it works the best for me. So I'm going to use that. Let me go ahead and erase. Let's go ahead and erase everything we've done so far. All right. And you use that with the eraser tool, by the way. So brush, pencil, line tool does exactly what you want it to do. It's just going to create a line, right? A diagonal line, straight up and down, left and right, whatever. Also, Control Z will allow you to undo the last thing, right? Square tool, circle tool, okay? Those work just like you expect. There's also this color picker tool. So let's say I choose a different color and I want to get back to this really unique kind of burnt orange type color. If I select the color picker tool, I can boom, click there and it sets it as my primary color. I can move whatever I've drawn using the move tool. I can also select specific parts of my drawing. I can rotate those parts, right? Which if you rotate pixel art, it gets very, very weird looking. Notice that's very strange. So maybe not rotating it too much unless you're rotating it exactly on like a 90-degree rotation or something like that. So like if I rotate it all the way over here, notice that it maintains that same, it looks nice. It doesn't skew my pixels in any weird way. You can also resize here. And again, rotating. Okay. You can copy, you can paste, you can cut, you can, hold on. You can assign a font. You can use this font by selecting custom. Oh, we can make new font. Oh, this is cool. Okay, sorry. I just got really excited. We might actually do this. I didn't know that this was a feature. So, okay. This isn't really relevant to what we're learning today, but I'm very excited about it, so I just want to talk about it. So what this will allow us to do, let's say, just make it black. Let's say I want to make a new font, right? And I want to make a letter A in my new font. Okay, so that's the letter A. What I can do is I can come in here, select this frame, go to the font menu, and then find my A and make that my letter A. So I can make custom fonts using this tool. And then I can download the font, download it as a font file, and then use it in my game. That's really, really sweet. We're not going to do that. I mean, maybe if you want to later on. But for now, we're focusing on character art. Okay. Text tool, lighten, darken, dithering. So dithering, here's the... let's talk about dithering a little bit, okay? And I'm going to grab maybe pink. So here's what dithering does. Dithering is a way to create some shading within 2D pixel art by making a checkerboard kind of pattern, right? So if you look here, I'm just clicking and dragging. I'm coloring in this area, and every other box is white. And then every other box is purple. So it's creating this cool dithering effect, this shading effect that is really popular in 2D art, right? So the dithering tool works really, really well. It's something that if you want to use... Sorry, my phone's going off. I apologize. Someone trying to give me money. All right, fantastic. Anyway, so this dithering tool is something you can use if you're really into creating shading and depth within your character. Stamp tool is a kind of a cheater tool, but it's kind of nice actually. You can grab pre-made stuff and just stamp it right into your frame. So like coins. Let's see, fire, rocks, dirt. So if you want to make something that kind of matches that style. Now, for the stuff that we're doing, we want our games to be completely unique and use unique art that was not created by someone else. So while you might be able to use some of these as a reference, we're not going to use any of these as our final artwork, right? So you might create a frame that uses, for example, this grass texture here, and then maybe make a new frame and then kind of try to copy the style or maybe even make it different, right? So you can use it as a reference, but we're not going to use other people's art. Okay. Let's see. Spray paint tool. Spray paint tool is kind of fun to play with. It's not going to be useful in every design, but it creates a kind of a spray paint effect that you can use. And it doesn't, like with the brush tool would create different shades around there. The spray paint tool just uses all the same color value. And then we have the gradient tool, which is really cool. Let me get a cool looking blue. The gradient tool will allow you to create a gradient within your design really easily. So that one's pretty cool. The hand tool, which don't really need to mess with. The filter tool, you don't really need to mess with. You can blur your stuff or give it, let's say grayscale. You're not really going to mess with that. And then the crop tool, we're going to keep our canvas the same size. So all of the tools you're really going to use are mostly up here. You're not really going to mess with these down here. Now let's talk a bit about frames. I'm going to erase everything here. And I'm going to show you how to quickly draw just a basic character. All right, let's say I want to create, I don't know. Okay. All right, and then let me select this guy. And let's move him over just a bit so he's more in the center. And then we will give him some eyes. Oh, Control Z. Now I'm just naturally like my hands are on Control. My fingers are hovering over Control and Z because I make so many mistakes while I'm doing artwork that I know I'm going to use it often. All right, and then let's get our paint bucket tool. And I'm going to make this guy baby blue. Okay, so now I have a character for my video game, right? Let's say I want to create an idle animation. I want an animation in my game where when he's just standing still, he kind of bobs up and down, right? So down here in my frame controls, which, by the way, if you don't see these, there's a little button called Lock Frames Panel that if you click on it, it'll give you your frames panel, and you can play around with them. All right, so I like the look of this guy, but I want to create another frame where he's squishing just a little bit. So what I can do is down here, I can copy that frame to give me two different frames, and then I can grab this top half of the body, move it down just a little bit. And now, if I were to flip back and forth between the frames, oh, hello. You can see that it kind of makes a little bit of a bobbing motion, right? And then let's say I wanted to, I don't know. Oh, let's try rotating so you can kind of see what happens. I'm going to rotate it by just a little bit. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, that's not great. Not rotating. But let's say I wanted to make it so that he kind of goes back just a little bit when we're moving forward, like he's leaning back, like, whoa, he's being pushed back by the speed. So I'm going to use the eyedropper tool here, grab my pencil, and I'm just going to shift everything back by 1 pixel just to make a subtle little like pushback. Now you're probably thinking like, okay, wait a second, you're pushing everything back, but you're keeping everything else there. No, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to erase all of that, and then I'm going to grab my eyedropper tool and my pencil tool, and I'm going to come in and just kind of do something like this. Right. So not quite the effect I was looking for, but if we're, doing this in the game, you could definitely see there'd be a little bit of a kind of a push. I'm going to bring that up just a little bit so that there's still that bobbing motion, that up and down. But anyway, so that's a very quick way to make some artwork, even if you're not great at art, right? Okay, so each frame down here is going to be put onto something called a Sprite Sheet. Whenever you download it, Sprite Sheets are basically just a bunch of artwork that is placed together that we can kind of break up and separate within Unity. We're going to talk more about that when we get into animations. Now, when you're planning out your character, you want to make sure you're planning out all of the different animations. For example, for this character, these two frames right here will be the frames I use for its idle animation. We'll just loop those two frames over and over again. It'll just be one frame, then the next frame, then another frame, the next frame, right? These two frames will be its running animation, so that whenever it's moving forward, it'll be leaned back just a little bit like that. And that'll be, and actually I have an idea. Let me grab, sorry, this might actually make it look a bit more like what I want. I want to kind of like squint the eye when he's running so that it kind of looks like he's, all right. Anyway, so that's going to be his lean back run animation. You're also going to want one for a jump, right? So the three basic animations, or the three basic frame sets we're going to want: idle, run, and jump. You can add as many as you want. Like if you plan on extending this and doing something more than what I'm going to teach you, and you want to like shoot bullets at people or, make explosions, whatever, you can make animation frame sets for those. But for us, we're just going to do idle, run, and jump. But anyway, you're going to create all your frames here. And then when you're done, you want to download your sprite sheet as a PNG. So download png.gif. Now you can do a GIF if you want, but it's not going to work as well with, it's not going to work as well in Unity. So you want to download it as a sprite sheet. And when you do that, it'll download it as a PNG. I'm going to open it up so you can see. So this is my new sprite sheet that I have created for our character, right? Not a ton of artistic, skill required. I just made a character that functionally will work in our game. All right. Cool. So I think that's about enough. I'm pretty sure you can figure out how most of this stuff works just by clicking around. If you have specific questions, how to make certain things happen that I didn't cover in this video, then feel free to ask. But other than that, I mean, your goal is to make your main character. You don't have to get all of the frames of its animations done today, at least one frame, just so we can see that you have a character that's planned out and you have an image of that character that you can use to start developing your game. All right. Yeah. Make sure and also if you want to save it for later, make sure you remember to click Save Drawing and save it to this Pixelart account that you've created. All right. Now I'm officially done. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see you later.